started in a moment. We're just letting people into the room, and we're going to begin our lovely little makeover. And this is very, very exciting. Thanks to all of you who are joining us today. This is a tantrika and a dominatrix walk into alive. And this is an episode I'm particularly excited about because we're going to be making over my dear partner in crime, my co-host, Monique Darling, who, as most of you know, is this incredible tantra educator, and just an inspiration to me in general. And we had this idea that we would do a makeover on each other. And I've been dying to see Monique sort of unleash her inner badass bitch queen. So I'm particularly excited about this. And having her here in my play space. Here I am in Austin, Texas. And I just want to share my screen for a moment so we can just really take a look here at this beauty. So this is the before. This is Monique, the goddess, this incredible, beautiful creature. And I just want you to take a good look at this because we are going to be doing a little bit of a transformation today. And don't get me wrong, Monique is a badass anyway. I've seen her be a boss as a tantra educator, holding space and holding the container takes a lot of presence and a lot of focus and confidence and all of these things. So, transforming her into a more authoritative, dominant role isn't necessarily going to be a huge stretch for her, but hopefully we can tap into some of that darker energy that we all sort of have within ourselves. So I'm going to turn off my share and let's go ahead and turn on your screen, Monique, so people can be kept in the loop as we're making you over. Here we go. So here she is with our little fun makeup mistress, who is also tantrika herself, Rainbow. Say hello, Rainbow.
Hello, beautifuls. Thank you so much for having me today.
We're so thrilled to be in Kimmy's space, to have Rainbow here with us. It's just going to be the best day ever. Right now, we've got a blank slate. I've just moisturized her, and I'm about to begin.
Awesome. This is funny because Monique never wears her hair in a high ponytail.
Never.
And we're going to just do things a little bit differently today. So as she's getting her makeup sorted, I would love for us all to maybe just ground for a second. So before I engage in any sort of kinky play and before I sort of transition myself from everyday, daily, mundane Kimmy Inch, I take some time to myself to sort of embrace my inner alter ego, Mistress Nina Payne, which is my dominatrix name. I've been a dom for about 15 years internationally. And the more work I've done on myself and the more education I've gotten in kink and tantra and all of these wonderful modalities is that I've learned that I want to take things deeper and deeper every step of the way. And how I do that is I have to start with myself. So I would love for you all to join me for a moment. If you could just take a moment, take a few deep grounding breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good, Monique, follow along. Good. So I'm getting a note that someone can't hear me. Is everyone having trouble hearing me? Can somebody let me know if you're having any trouble hearing me at the moment? Okay, great. Thank you. So it looks like we're good here. So again, as Monique mutes her computer, we're just going to have her do some deep breathing while she's getting her makeup done. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Before we had you all sign on, I just blasted a little bit of Rihanna S&M at Monique's request because I told her that as a Dom, I like to start arousing my own erotic energy after I self-connect. And I was curious, what song did Monique sort of feel that would bring out a little bit more of this, sexy, dark energy, Eros energy within her? And she immediately said, Rihanna S&M. So we played a little bit of that to begin. But now that we're all here together in the room, we didn't want to play Rihanna S&M on the computer because we would get the sound muted. But let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths and tap into your inner self. And just notice what's happening in your body in this moment. See, for me, it's really important as the Dom, as the one leading the session, to be really attuned to my own body. So when I'm in partnership with my play partner in a session, I can be really clear on things that pop up within me during the session. So for example, if I'm with a play partner and midway through, I'm starting to feel maybe a little off and my throat's closing up, or I'm feeling anxious, I might ask myself, like, is this belong to me or is this my partner? Because I did a full-on body check with myself. I got really grounded and attuned to myself before I brought myself to my partner. And that's information for me to investigate, because once I'm really in tune with myself, I can attune to my partner and I can feel things a lot more urgently. And it's interesting, once you get in flow with your partner, and the more you play, of course, you drop in even deeper, but the more you get in touch with yourself and attuned to each other, it's almost like you feel like you have these like psychic abilities. You just get into a flow with each other. You can feel where they're at in the moment. You can almost anticipate what they're needing in the moment. So these exercises are actually really, really important in order for me to show up for my partner as the leader, as the dominant in this session. So go ahead and take another couple deep breaths. Monique, breathe with me. Yes, Rainbow. Good. And we've been talking a little bit about archetypes. And for those who aren't familiar, archetypes is a series of personalities or subpersonalities developed by Carl Jung, but there's all types of archetypes that people can tap into. So when you think about you as a person, you're made up of a lot of different nuances and complexities. And, we're not just a one-hit note. We are a bunch of, like, if you think of yourself as having an inner orchestra, like you have your violins, you have your naughty little slut, you have your warrior, you have your, leader, you have your nurturer, you have like this orchestra of sub-personalities within you that you can tap into at any point. And as long as they're all playing together harmoniously, you can create a masterpiece. So it's almost like, how do I turn up the volume on certain personalities that I know I already have within me, so that when I move into a space of embracing as a Dom, a dominatrix, or a master, that's going to be authentic. Like when you think of an actor embracing a role, they're sort of like walking into the role from the outside in. And as a Dom or a dominatrix, I think about like, what are the qualities I want to tap into for this session? And I normally have some guidance about what the personalities are going to be, because I had a negotiation with my partner. We communicated around not only what activities we're going to get engaged in, but also like, what's the energy of the session? Like, what's the vibe? Do you like it really harsh and hardcore? Do you like it playful? Do you like it sort of nurturing? Or do you like sort of, all of the above? So based on the communication I've had with my partner, that's going to give me information on where to sort of focus on myself. So my alter ego name is Mistress Nina Payne, but Mistress Nina Payne can be a lot of different things. And I want to sort of tap into that part of me. So Monique, as I'm sort of describing these personalities, I'm wondering if you could tap into a part of yourself that maybe has a little bit of that darker energy. It can still be playful. It can still be a leadership role. It can still be nurturing in some ways, but what sort of resonates with you in this moment? Could you maybe share with us?
Well, one, like when I start tapping into that archetype, then one way that I found that I really love to play with lovers is around like mind fucking or fake breath play. So like we're not actually choking each other, but it feels like my hands are around somebody's throat or their hands are on my throat, even lightly. Then really turns me on, like takes me to that place of ooh, someone's life is in my hands, and then my whole body becomes alive. So it's definitely, or tying somebody up, taking their side away, like taking senses away, so that then they're at my beck and call.
Good. Take a deep breath. And as you were describing that, where do you feel the energy mostly in your body in this moment?
In both my throat and my yoni.
Okay. Good. Good. So maybe see if you can open into that a bit more. Yeah. Yeah.
There's lots of power there, Kimmy.
There's a lot of juice. There is a lot of juice. And it's interesting because when we think about kink, there's all these different definitions, but ultimately kink is sometimes considered the unconventional and is oftentimes considered the taboo, you know, so kink can be a lot of fun. We can take a sort of a vacation from our everyday lives and personalities and embrace a different part of ourselves, maybe a part that doesn't always get to shine very often because of this sort of image that we feel like we need to uphold in order to be accepted by society, right? But which is necessary in some cases, of course, but also behind closed doors with an agreement with consciousness and consent, these personalities or these parts of ourselves can start to arise and not only be accepted, but be celebrated. So tap into that a little bit deeper, Monique, because you did list some interests of activities of like actual acts that you imagine this part of you engaging in. And I'm curious if you can feel into this woman's energy, like would you
It's like my everyday energy is pretty flexible and like go with the flow. And as I feel into my alter ego, then there's like she's opinionated. Like there's opinions, and she's like I just keep seeing an image of my foot planted on the ground in a way that Monique I would not associate with Monique.
And it's just like an unshakable, like foot on the ground, like a grounded, unshakable, like powerhouse sort of image. Yeah.
Like I'm standing my ground, and I'm not backing down. I'm not compromising. And it's much more. I don't know if rigid is the right word, but opposite of flexible than what I normally feel.
I like that. Okay, so let's breathe into that. Because we're all going to sit here together with you, Monique, as we go through this transformation, because this powerhouse, this unshakable force that you're referring to has a name. So even the other day we were talking about the name and it wasn't quite clear in the moment, but maybe if we're all together energetically holding space for Monique and feeling into what would you guys think of as a name, a dominant name for Monique? Like, what do you imagine her mistress name being? Would you be willing to share that in the chat so we can continue to foster and cultivate this dark energy, this sexy erotic energy? So if you're willing to share what that name is, or what you think would be a great name for Monique's alter ego, this darker, sort of inflexible, just confident, strong boss of a beauty. Yeah, what would that be? And let me see if I can check the Facebook Live as well. Yeah. All right. And Monique, have you given it any thought around the name or any sort of feelings around what that could be?
Well, yesterday or the other day when we were talking, then the first name that came up was Mistress Trinity Muse. And I've been sitting with that and feeling it. And even this morning, it was so funny because both Rainbow and another friend of ours said, well, what about Rose? And like, that's what was coming up inside of me. So I really feel that rose with the blossoms and the thorns and like the dichotomous nature feels really unique for me. So Mistress Trinity Rose.
Oh, I love that. I feel I felt chills when you said that. So I think that we could be onto something here. So just breathe into that image because you have the beautiful red raven hair and you have your makeup is coming on. Are you starting to feel that shift happen within you?
Yeah, there's already like more energy in my spine. I can feel tingles all the way from my throat to my roots. And there's just more space. I'm like, ooh, I just want to grab Rainbow. I waited.
Rainbow says not yet.
But I feel that inside of like that part really wants to come play. Where usually it's silly, like it is people are like, I want you to dominate me and I can do it for a couple of minutes for somebody else, but like right now I can totally access it. Like, ooh, I want to do it for me.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, good. So breathe into that. I know you have to keep your eyes open for now while you're getting your makeup done, but see if you can see in your mind's eye that image of what Mistress Trinity Rose looks like.
There's definitely a lot of red. Red
Maybe that's your signature
red,
color.
Red bondage things.
Oh.
Red blindfolds, scarves. With
Ooh,
like
black
fur. It's like black furs and silks on the bed.
Ooh, I love it.
Lots of sensations.
One of our audience members said that they see you as Mistress Red Star because of your red hair and because you shine like a star and you have beautiful energy like a star.
I like that too.
Very good. And I know.
Thank you all for playing along.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited that you're all here.
I know. It's so much fun. And watching you transform right before our eyes is actually a lot of fun. And I can't wait for people to see the outfits that you picked out, and I want to make a comment about that really fast because, I don't want to say that there's one way or another to be a dominatrix or to be a dominant. Like you don't have to necessarily put on all the makeup or put on the corset or put on the high heels or the leather or the latex, none of that is actually necessary because it all really resides in the mind and in the heart. And, as same thing as toys, like you don't need a bunch of bells and whistles in order to be a good dominant or to have a really amazing kinky experience. Like all you need is your brain, your heart, and your hands for the most part, and bringing in that imagination and limitless possibility is so much fun. And that's why people gravitate towards kink is just there's this limitless possibility. It's really just lies in what feels good for you and the places that you want to go to.
Kimmy, since we talked about like breath play and bondage, can you give like some safety tips? Like, people are like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. Like, don't just dive into that stuff because Kimmy can tell you you want to have consideration.
Good.
For safety.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's interesting because there's some acts that sound really common and people talk about a lot, like choking and tying people up and stuff is a really common kinky interest that people have, but these can be, and like a lot of kink activities can be really dangerous. And that's why using the word RAC, which is risk aware, conscious kink, is a really important thing to keep in mind because just like things with mountain climbing, there's always risk with mountain climbing, but the more preparation and skill and training and stuff that you have, the less opportunity for mishaps or mistakes. The same thing in kink. So when it comes to bondage, something to try out is that you don't have to necessarily break out the ropes and handcuffs if you want to have an experience of immobilizing your partner. You could start off doing things that could be even energetic in nature. Like when I did a retreat with Monique that she led called Energy Sex, which you guys are going to be doing again in Sedona, in July.
Yes.
And she talked about using energetic rope in order to tie your partner. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Monique?
Well, with energy, like the energetic realm, then anything's possible. And so it's like calling forth from the land of possibilities and bringing it from the formless to the form. And so especially in kink, where people are sometimes afraid of actually trying something that sounds really exciting to them. And again, it can always just live in the realm of speaking it to your partner and it's really sexy. But if you're like, I kind of want to see what it would feel like without actually being tied up, then this is a nice next step.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you do is if you're the dominant and you're the one that's going to be doing the energetic tying, then you tap into your roots. You tap into the balls and soles of your feet and feeling yourself on the ground. And then you're bringing up energy from the ground and imagine that you're putting an energetic bubble over your partner, over the person you're going to be energetically tying. And so that's just creating your own energetic container.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, you get to use your imagination and you get to have fun and play and you get to share, like, what kind of rope do you want to use? So you can imagine like red velvet rope that you're pulling up from the earth. It could be black, it can be like whatever color you want, hemp rope. And then you start imagining that you're tying it around your partner. And you can walk around their body, you can tie their wrists, you can tie their feet, you can blindfold them, but there's this energetic rope and this energetic connection that you're offering, and then your partner gets to feel, oh, this is what it's like to be bound in love or with loving thoughts, with loving intention. And then you play with that for a few minutes, wrapping around their body. You can even play with energetically pulling them one direction or the other. And often they can feel that like there's this deep connection and it's like, oh, there's something actually around me. And then just like in regular rope play, one of the sweetest parts is release. And so then you take out your energetic scissors or your energetic knife, you slice through that rope, energetically freeing your partner, and then you bring your energetic bubble back to you. And then sometimes they want to be held, like decompress with them, which we'll talk about aftercare sometime during this Facebook Live, because that's really important too.
Yeah, beautifully said. You know, like I said, you don't have to, you know, jump into bondage in the traditional sense of like, oh, let's buy those fuzzy handcuffs, let's do this and that. Like before the energy sex workshop, I also, you know, said that there's something called mental bondage where you tell your play partner that they have to stay in a certain position. And if they move, they're going to get a punishment, right? So they have to sort of stay in a certain position or else suffer the consequences. So that's an aspect of immobilizing someone without actually having to do anything physical to them. Also, you know, you can, if you want to start getting it to be more physical, you can start with just pinning people's hands down or behind them or up against the wall or on the bed or whatnot to get a sense of what it feels like to be restricted in movement.
Wrestling
is fun. Yeah. Sometimes they want to fight against you, and sometimes it could be just good if someone's trying this out to like pin them down and just let them feel into their body. Is it all excitement or is there a little panic there? And just be with whatever is, because it can be released in any moment. And work your way up to things like ropes, like you know, things like handcuffs, anything with steel. You know, you're not getting out of that. So like there's certain things that don't have any give. So, you know, working your way up slowly from doing something energetic or doing something like a mind game exercise or doing something where you're just physically with your hands pinning your partner and you're getting that physical touch and connection at the same time could be a good start before moving into bondage, because immobilization is really intense. It can be really, really intense to take people's ability to move. And that intensity is sometimes really sought after, of course, because people want to be in a state of surrender. But it's something that if you're new to it, to sort of start off slowly and dive into it very slowly. Same things with anything regarding breath play. That's something that's very exciting, to restrict someone's breathing. Like, you know, not only do I own your body, but I own your breath. You know, there's like something really exciting for people to experience that. But of course, when you're playing with the breath, there's risk there. So starting off really slowly, again, without even touching your partner, telling them they need to hold their breath in front of you, and that they're going to suffer a consequence if they stop breathing before you tell them to. So you don't even necessarily have to touch them at that stage, and just see how what's created in the body from something like that exercise that's more focused on the mental aspect, which is kind of fun because you don't even have to be in the same room with somebody when you're playing in that way. So you have sort of flexibility around your space. But yeah, again, when you're moving into some of these things, it's really important to move slowly, check in with the body, and build up the intensity. So often people go in and they just start at an 8 and they have nowhere to go from an 8. So like, warming up the body, warming up the mind, getting really deeply connected. All of that stuff is really important. So as we were talking about the archetypes earlier, we have a question. Do you think we can modify our archetype permanently? Because that's the core of our personality. Is there a certain type of energy or personality trait in order to spot a dom or a sub? Good question. That's a really tough thing to say, because I play with a ton of subs that are leading, fucking Fortune 500 companies. Like they are, a boss in the streets and my sub in the sheets, or whatever. But they portray, that leadership in their daily lives constantly. So when they're behind closed doors, they can like release that responsibility and give themselves over to somebody else who's willing to be responsible for them. So I don't think you can just necessarily spot a dom or a sub per se, because you meet me, I'm the sweetest girl you'll ever meet, but behind closed doors, if you fuck with me, you're going to be in big fucking trouble. You know what I mean? So you never know what's going on behind closed doors. So I want to be kind of careful about labeling people and just trying to take people in and not put a story on them or project something onto them of what your idea of dom, what your idea of sub is. But modifying our archetypes, I think it's just so much fun to have options. Like I love, and the archetypes don't have to be Carl Jung's archetypes. Like there's all types of archetypes. Like people use things like Sex in the City, like Samantha is an archetype, Carrie is an archetype, Charlotte is an archetype. Like those are different archetypes. Like, or you can think, I'm going to be the archetype of Scorpio right now, or like I'm going to be like a full-on Aquarius right now, or whatever those archetypes are. Like it's really whatever you want. And, I feel like I've been talking a long time, and our lovely guest, Rainbow, who is doing such an amazing job here. Does she need lashes yet?
She is about there.
I would love to have our guest, Rainbow, talk a little bit about her craft, maybe share a bit how she got into it, and share some of her experience and life tips, because again, she's not just a mistress, she's a jack of all trades. Actually, she does a lot of different things, even personal shopping, which she has an incredible sense of style and gifts in that department as well. We
all enjoyed rainbow shopping.
Yes,
this robe is a rainbow shopping trip.
Yes.
Anymore.
Can you share while you're doing makeup? Can you talk?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see. I describe myself as a sensualist curator, which means that I like to, I'm constantly aware of what is happening around me and how I could invite more pleasure into a space, how I can invite more pleasure into other people's bodies and my body. And that has been the most amazing exploration for me. And that began about 3 years ago when I found Tantra. And that really woke me up to connecting with the divine in a whole new way that blasted my everything to bits and pieces. And Kimmy, I'm totally ready for the lashes.
Okay, great. Do you want to trade places?
Yeah, let's trade places.
Okay.
Then you can share. You guys are the viewers, your full attention.
Yes, that will help so much.
I hope you're having fun going on with us, and please continue typing in questions if you have questions.
That is so much better. Yes. So as I was saying, I have created the term sensualist curator, and I feel that it applies everywhere in my life, not just in the bedroom with my lover, but out when I'm walking the streets and with that comes this reality of making love to the mundane, and which is so tantric of me, right? Making love to life, making love to the mundane. And when I really started doing sex work is whenever things really shifted for me, and how I create and hold space. And what is always priority there is safety, making them feel safe, like dropping them in, making them feel like they can walk, like they walk in and it's a breath of fresh air to be with me. And one of my little talents is allowing people to feel me, like really feel me. And just the shift that I've had with clients since being able to really let myself be felt, is that there's so much more that we get to explore in sessions that they feel safe enough to explore inside themselves as we're in a session. And just recognizing that we create our own safety ultimately, and the importance of going somewhere else to explore in new ways whenever we're not quite sure that we want to do it alone. And why not and ask Mistress Nina Payne over here to hold that space for you.
Thank you, Rainbow.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Let's see.
Rainbow, why don't you share your favorite archetypes, like in Tantra with the deities? Because when Kimmy was talking, I'm like, we do that all the time in Tantra.
Seriously.
And there's Carolyn Mist archetypes, like there's so many archetypes.
Lately, I've been really feeling Kali. And Kali is, you know, slicing the heads off people who disrespect her. And there's been a lot more fire. There's been a lot more edge. There's been a lot more like darkness, like just wearing more black and being more open to not being so light and bubbly all the time. Like there's a decisiveness that I feel with Kali when I am invoking her and feeling her, and like literally the ground beneath her feet are quaking, and like my solar plexus feels like it's literally on fire, like burning away anything that is keeping me small or keeping me passive or keeping me submissive. And that one has, Kali has been my favorite to play with recently. I feel like she's helping me level up in a sense in how I show up in life, not just rainbows and butterflies and soaring in the clouds, but like, oh, I feel her and she feels solid. Like she is a solid foundation for me to share, to co-create with, to play with.
Rainbow, how about some humorous experiences that you've had being a Dom? I always have people ask, like in Tantra, in any type of switch work, like what are the funny moments that most people never get to hear or see about?
Let's see. Funny moments. I think that just I guess it's I want to say it's funny, but it's not that funny, but just that people, they, in my experience with sessions, they watch porn and they see dominatrixes in porn and how they present themselves, and it's a lot of pain play and a lot of like making people, like making men uncomfortable in situations. And whenever I have clients come to me, like, you know, asking me what things that I offer, one in particular, you know, I told he wanted me to dom him, and we had discussed safety and what he was looking for, and he showed up just like really confused, I guess, whenever he got there, like thinking that I was going to be this other thing that he's seen in porn. And he was like just standing at the door, just like really timid about coming. And I was wearing like my like a rainbow lingerie set or something, and just like very soft and sweet and like motherly with him whenever he walked in. And he was just in shock. Like he didn't know that dominatrix, that dominatrix like that even existed. It was just his system just kind of blew out. And then I really had to like nurture him and like lay him down on the bed and like share with him that the reality that he knew was not the full extent of the reality that is actually available to him. And then we really got into the details, but that was the most interesting experience, I'd say. Maybe not the most humorous, but definitely the most interesting.
Thanks, Rainbow.
Thank you.
We are
Is it time
with
to
the makeup,
accessorize her?
and we're getting the outfit on now, which is exciting.
Very exciting. I've been wanting to do a look on like this on Monique for a very long time myself.
Kimmy finally. Kimmy convinced me.
Let me mute this one, and we'll use the other computer.
Okay, Rainbow,
People are
you want
picking
to
up a
put,
little bit of a reverb there.
you want to put this on, Rainbow?
Yes. So some of the finishing touches, fingerless lace gloves.
It's a little flash, like throwback to the 80s. Which I
I
love.
love it too. We want to have access to your nails because you never know what sort of sensation play you want to do. We're going to have you stand so we can start getting your garter on. All right. Should we pull the leg up?
Pop it up here. Oh, yeah.
Well, let me get this around your waist. Because we need this around her waist first.
So, Rainbow or Kimmy, do you want to share, like, what are the differences between garter stockings and just like thigh highs? Like when people are going and they're looking at a costume shop or lingerie shop, what are the pros and cons of either? Other than the sexiness of a garter belt.
Right. Well, they all give very different looks depending on what you're wanting to explore or play with with your expression. Kimmy and I really like the thigh highs that have the band on them. They add this extra lace texture and just this beautiful like touch at the top of the thigh here.
And when we're talking about stimulating the senses, obviously sight is a huge, important sense that stimulates arousal. And when we do things like we go the extra mile with the stockings and garter belts and things like that, it's just not an ordinary setup that you see every day, especially if you're in a relationship with someone, they're maybe not dressing up constantly in sexy lingerie or whatnot. But ultimately, I think about what makes me feel good, like what's going to contribute to me really stepping into this, dominant role, and things like stockings, things like the waist cinchers or corsets, or things that feel a little restrictive and out of the ordinary, sort of stimulates me into my archetype even deeper. So I love things like textures. I love leading things to the imagination. I mean, she's going to be wearing way more than she would at a beach, right? Like than a bikini or something like that. But it's also really, really enticing, especially if your partner has any sort of specific fetishes around stockings, garters, heels. This is information I like to get from my partner as well, to see what are some of the things I can add to the session in order to make it more enticing. And if my partner especially likes stockings and we want to do a little bit of like a tease and denial scenario, I might have my stockings on and he or she, shall we just say, can be tied up, and I can be sort of rubbing my legs up and down their body, and they're feeling the stockings, but they can't really touch it. Or I might have them down on all fours so they can get a really close look at my legs and stockings, but they can't touch until I say so. And things like that. Like I can make a game by finding out what my partner's desires and things are. I can make a game out of teasing them with their own desire. So we're going to have you step over here. Let me just check to see if there's any questions.
Because we can put on the finishing touches while you share.
Yeah, we're
And
on
then
the finishing touches.
you can bring out the computer to the runway.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, we're going to do a little runway walk with Monique in just a second. She's almost finished putting on her dominatrix outfit. But I just wanted to say that there was a message for you, Rainbow, around like, she really feels that porn has perverted the essence of kink. Do you get that a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. There's there's a really limited representation in porn of what kink can be, and there's especially missing the emotional and even spiritual aspects of what kink can be, especially in porn and things like that. How do you capture that really? The energy between two humans can be so powerful. So yeah, it's a shame that there's not a lot conveyed around the relationship and the power of what kink can become. It can be also very cathartic. People like to really dive into some of their kinks are also linked to some of their traumas. And I'm not saying all kinks are linked to trauma at all. I'm not saying that. I do believe, though, on some level, the impressions that we were given growing up as children around relationships, sex, intimacy, love, whatever those impressions were, doesn't have to be traumatic or abusive by any means, but whatever those impressions were can sort of contribute to what our desires turn into, or what we want sexually, or what our fantasies gravitate towards. So, you know, when you sort of come together with someone in a kinky setting and they want to work on maybe something that happened that was a trauma that contributed to their kink of wanting to be humiliated or wanting to be, you know, overpowered, they also can move into that with consciousness and feel into what it's like to be able to stop it at any time, or to know that there's safety in going into the humiliation and that they have agency. So these things are really important. So things like that aren't portrayed in porn, obviously, those depths that people go. And that's why eventually I started, you know, diving into this work deeper as doing it in a therapeutic space, because I saw the catharsis that was happening and the release that people could experience when they go into their shame around their sexuality and come out the other end just feeling more liberated and empowered for who they are. Ooh,
Rainbow might switch you spots for a second.
Okay.
I think I got it.
Oh, we got it.
You got it. We're
I'd like to share
excited.
with our viewers, you were talking about Dom for a day. Like, what is that?
Oh, yeah. So I have a class that I developed so long ago, I mean, 2010, a class called Dominatrix for a Day, or Dom for a Day. And this class started because I used to teach professional doms in dungeons around New York City how to become dominatrixes. Like, that was my literal job, was training women to become dominatrixes at different houses and dungeons in New York. So I had developed a lesson plan that I've kind of put together over the years of being a dominatrix myself internationally, training with a lot of experts and people in the field. And, you know, they had to go through a rigorous training that would take, you know, a couple days, everything from style and attitude and communication to, you know, bondage, impact play, sensation play, all of the things really, in order to be a good dom and to play safe and to play effectively. So I devised that lesson plan that I used to train dominatrixes and condensed it into a shorter version and did a class called Dom for a Day. And this tended to be more female identified students that would come to the class and do a training around transforming into a dominatrix and having the ability to practice different techniques and be in their alter egos and play in those spaces with other women or with other students, depending on the class. So this is a class that I've always been really super excited about. Is she ready?
She's ready.
Oh my gosh. So everybody, let's see. I think I'm gonna bring my computer because it's pretty loud. Let me just mute this. Give us 1 second. We're gonna do a little fun. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So everyone, you saw the before picture of Monique. Would you grab that circle light and just bring it out here, babe? And we have a little unveiling to do of, are you excited, Monique?
I am excited.
Okay, so take a couple deep breaths because you are no longer Monique.
Oh.
Yes, we're gonna start calling in Mistress Trinity Rose. And it won't reach out. Here, hold this. Great. So just take a couple of deep breaths. Oh, the anticipation. Awesome. All right. So on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. Mistress Trinity. Hello, hello. Yes, how do you feel?
It's so different in my body. There's so much, there's space. There's just like, ooh, how can I play with you, Rainbow?
Yeah, stay right there, sweetie. Yeah, so just feel yourself in this outfit that you picked out. And just let's turn this down. There we go. You look absolutely
stunning.
gorgeous. Yes, mistress. Yay. Roses in one hand and a paddle in the other. Very appropriate.
Thank you both. Thank you all for coming along for the transformation.
Oh my gosh, you look incredible. What an honor.
And we thought that we could finish. Kimmy can also offer some, if I was in for Dom for a day, what would that look like as Rainbow as our submissive?
Yeah, do you consent to?
I consent fully.
Okay, do you guys want to see a little dominatrix in action? If so, please let us know because we want to make sure everybody's on board here, but we're going to do a little dominatrix demonstration. Oh, yes. Great. So go ahead and why don't you just lean up against this wall, Rainbow? And no, facing the goddess. Yeah. Not to play director this whole time, but maybe just take some moments to take some eye contact and breathe. Yeah. Yeah. And as you're looking into each other's eyes, see if you can still be in your bodies. Yeah, good, Monique. And you're going to instruct Rainbow to follow your breathing. So you're going to have her breathe at your pace. And if you want her to go slower or to hold it or anything like that, you let her know.
Hold it at the top. And release. Deep breath. Hold it. Hold. And release. Just continue letting your breath deepen.
Good. And what does your impulse tell you, Monique, as you start to move into the more authority?
I'm going to put my hand on your face into your hair.
Yes, Mistress Trinity Rose.
Can I pull?
Yes.
Can I trace your face with a rose?
Yes, Mistress Trinity.
Oh.
Good. And just something to think about. It's perfect. You're getting consent at all times. And also instructing your submissive to let you know. There we go.
And you can say no to anything. You're going to have fun directing.
Good.
Some vlogging for your heart. Harder or same?
Harder.
just going to kiss you. Thank you for being such a good human.
Human where?
Creature.
What pronoun do you prefer?
Creature.
Thank you for being such a good creature.
Mm.
Should we trade
Good.
positions, Kimmy?
Oh, I don't know. You're doing such a good job. How are you feeling,
I have a
Rainbow?
request.
What's your request?
I would love to transition to the other room.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
be on the cross, maybe?
Okay. We're gonna take you guys into the
The
room.
next leg of our
Playroom.
adventure.
Kimmy's playroom.
Kimmy's playroom. Two.
Here, I can hold it in. You can show.
Okay.
There we go.
Got it.
And yes, it says yes, mistress. That's
Hi.
perfect.
So, as requested by Rainbow, we're going to put her on the cross and have her take a couple of deep breaths. And I want you to feel as I'm binding your hands with these restraints, because I'm not concerned about her running away from me, but I want to sort of keep her in one place. And it just further sort of solidifies my dominance over her. So she can just relax and let go.
I like relaxing. and letting go.
Good. You deserve to relax and let go. So I can just bring in some verbal play, because she's not facing the outside. She's facing the wall at the moment. And I want her to know what's happening as I'm sort of looking her up and down. So I can verbally say, I'm watching you just sort of on this cross, and your body is just here for my enjoyment. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And love just stroking your hair and being nice and gentle, but I can't always be nice and gentle. Sometimes I like to be rough. So I can do a little pull. So I'm increasing the intensity a little bit, and then I'm going to pull back, and then I'm going to go back to being soft and gentle. And I can check in with her. How was that for you? Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Great. And of course, we've established safe words. It's green for more, yellow for slow down, and then of course red is stop. Do you understand, Pet?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, I like.
And I just sort of play with the skin. I'm making physical contact with my partner. I'm having her breathe nice and deep in through the nose and out through the mouth as I sort of let my hands run on the body. And if I were gonna do some impact play again, I'm gonna move very slowly, and I might just give a little, like a little something, right? And then stop and then check in. Did you like that?
Good.
Good, yeah.
5.
She's at a 5 already. So we have a number system. This is my spank sister, actually. And sometimes we just spank each other for the fun of spanking each other. So we have a number system that when we land one of our strikes, to give a number of the intensity level. So 10 would be painful, and 1 would be, nothing at all. So getting a sort of gauge of where she is currently. Good. How's that?
5.
So we're at a 5, and I might stay at a 5 for a while. Like, I don't want to be in any rush. I could tell her that I just want to savor each and every moan and groan that I hear from your lips. So just playing with her, giving her some space to process the different sensations she's feeling, checking in with her, like, how are you feeling in your body right now? What's going on? Tingly.
Relaxed, like I want to go deeper into my psyche and to just really let my body fall onto the cross.
She wants to surrender, relax, let her body go onto the cross. And she's in my capable hands. And again, there's all these different ways I can, bring in my nails so she can feel various styles of touch. Of course, I can grab toys, feathers, furs, I can use the flogger without flogging her and just let her feel the tassels of the leather of the flogger, of the falls. You know, and every once in a while I could do another little spank. Good, deep breath. Yeah. And having my partner breathe is going to ground them into the experience and help anchor them in. And I just play with the sensations, everything from, you know, blowing on her ear, using language, using the way I say it, whispering, you know, using different parts of me. If I want to be closer to her. Good girl. Yes. These are different techniques that you can use as a dominant, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. So honestly, we're gonna have to start closing things down.
But come see us on Saturday. We can continue and go deeper with Rainbow when the computer goes off.
Yeah.
But on Saturday, then Kimmy and I will be doing our very first live tantrika and dominatrix walk into a live event.
Yes.
And there's a couple tickets left here in Austin.
There is. I think there's only 3 tickets left now. Yeah. So if you're in the Austin area, I'm going to give you some cuddles. Is that okay? Give her some aftercare. If you're in the Austin area, please come and see us. And if you're not, we're going to be touring the class as well. So be sure you're signed up to our mailing list or our Facebook group, a tantrika and a dominatrix walk into so you can be kept in the loop of our different classes. We're going to be touring around the United States and hopefully beyond. But I wanted to thank our beautiful guest, Rainbow,
Thank
for
you so much.
sharing yourself with us, bringing your knowledge, and being our little pet as well in our demonstration.
I'll be your pet in demonstration anytime.
Yay, thank you.
And if you enjoyed this and you're like, yeah, that's really fun, then talk to Kimmy about coming and getting made up as a dominatrix and finding those archetypes, and join us for our Facebook Live on June 24th. Well, we'll be doing a makeover on Kimmy and turning her into a tantrika.
Yes.
And I've called in San Diego because that's where I first found Tantra. Then we're going to San Diego to teach there too. But I've called in some of my San Diego tantric sisters, and we're all going to be making over Kimmy on the 24th. So
I'm so
watch for
excited.
that.
I'm going to be a sweet little goddess. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
Thank you so much for offering this on Zoom. Looking forward to the next one. Unfortunately, I can't join you live yet, located in Norway, but longing to travel.
Well, thanks for joining us from Europe. We appreciate you and everyone that showed up. And if you guys have any questions for the future lives, send it to us. And we look forward to continuing the adventure. Where did you go, Mistress Trinity?
Right? To go close everything down.
Okay. We love you guys.
We love
Thank you
you.
so much for being here and looking forward to more.
And we'll post pictures of her makeup on the
Yes, we're
thread
gonna
so you
do-
get a nice close up.
I can go to a photo shoot now.